It started out like any other anniversary. I woke up early, a little nervous, but excited. I had planned everything down to the last detail. A romantic dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date. A small, handwritten letter tucked inside a gift box and tickets for a weekend getaway. After years of ups and downs, I thought it was time we reignited the spark in our relationship. Little did I know that day would unravel everything. I thought I knew about my wife and our marriage. The morning began with a strange vibe. My wife Sarah was quieter than usual. She offered a half-hearted smile over breakfast and seemed distracted. I brushed it off as her being tired or stressed. Life had been hectic for both of us. Jobs, family obligations, and the monotony of daily routines. Maybe this anniversary celebration is just what we need, I told myself. Clinging to the belief that things were fine as the day progressed, her mood didn't improve. She stayed glued to her phone, barely acknowledging my attempts to engage in conversation. By the afternoon, I started to feel a nagging sense of dread. Something wasn't right. I wondered if I'd done something wrong or if she was upset about a forgotten detail. But when I asked if she was okay, she waved it off with a curt, "I'm fine." Evening arrived and I put on my best suit, hoping our dinner would lighten the mood. Sarah hesitated before getting ready, as if she were reluctant to go still. She joined me, dressed beautifully, but carrying the same distant expression. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was physically present but mentally elsewhere at the restaurant. I tried my best to set a romantic tone. I talked about our memories, the funny moments, the challenges we'd overcome together. She smiled faintly, but her responses were clipped on, almost robotic. I could tell she wasn't really listening. My stomach churned. Something was coming, but I wasn't ready for what it was. The breaking point came when the waiter brought out the dessert, a small cake with "Happy Anniversary" written in chocolate, as I raised my glass to toast. Sarah put hers down, her eyes welled up with tears, and before I could ask what was wrong, she whispered, "I need to tell you something." My heart sank. The air between us grew heavy, and I could feel my pulse quicken. "What is it?" I asked cautiously, trying to keep my voice steady. "I regret marrying you," she said. Her voice trembling for a moment, I couldn't process her words. They hung in the air like a thunderclap. I stared at her, hoping I'd misheard, but her expression confirmed it. She looked broken. "What do you mean?" I managed to ask, though. My throat felt dry. She went on to explain that she felt trapped, that our marriage wasn't what she thought it would be, and that she'd been holding on to these feelings for years. "I don't know who I am anymore," she said, her voice cracking. "I feel like I've lost myself in this marriage. I didn't know what to say. Anger, sadness, confusion, all of it hit me at once. I wanted to argue, to defend myself, to beg her to reconsider. But as I looked at her, I realized this wasn't something I could fix. Her mind was made up. We sat in silence for what felt like an eternity. I paid the bill, and we left the restaurant without a word. The drive home was excruciating. Every second felt like a slow unraveling of the life I thought we were building together. When we got home, she went straight to bed. I stayed in the living room, replaying the night in my head. I thought about the years we'd spent together, the sacrifices I'd made, and the plans we'd made for the future. And now it was all gone as I sat there. Something shifted inside me. I realized I couldn't stay. Not in this marriage. Not in this house. Not in this life. We built on a foundation that had clearly crumbled. Long ago by morning, I'd made my decision. I packed my bags quietly, taking only what I needed. I left a note on the kitchen counter. "I hope you find the happiness you're looking for. Goodbye." I didn't tell her where I was going, because truthfully, I didn't know. I just needed to get away, to start over, to figure out who I was without her. Months later, I found myself in a new city with a new job and a new outlook on life. It wasn't easy, but I finally felt free. I stopped blaming myself for what happened and started focusing on what I wanted for my future. Looking back, her confession was the most painful thing I've ever experienced, but it was also the catalyst I needed to find myself again. Sometimes the hardest endings are the ones that set us free.